Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, we're starting off on the daily as always. EU's on the top, DXY is on the bottom. It's a Friday today as well. So what's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday just a long-legged doji, right? We've clearly taken some buy-side liquidity above the previous daily high, gone bearish, taken sell-side liquidity below all of these lows, right, and pulled back to close out in that way. So on the daily, it's nothing too significant, but on the lower time frame, we're going to have a leg, right? So, but what's important is we took some buy-side, took some sell-side liquidity, okay, and it does appear that price is still trying to push down towards this discount to possibly fill this imbalance, right? So after this initial bullish energy here, price has decelerated even more on the daily and has tried to make a bearish push. So that's how I read it anyway. And this imbalance is still here, this order block still here, and it seems to be attracting price. We have similar on our inverse DXY, okay? We have 3 bullish candles, right? Same one, sort of doji here, we've gone bearish, then gone bullish, taken buy side liquidity, closed back down, making a smaller body on the candle. Right, it's clearly making its way up towards this premium, towards this order block as well. So it isn't moving with loads of momentum, right, closing out as a massive bearish body or bullish body candle, but this is the sort of corrective price action I expect when we're pulling back towards, say, an order block to continue in a direction, right? We have the structure which is bearish, so we have that momentum bearish, and then we have that corrective slow pullback towards this area, creating trend lines, and then usually we hope for that momentum again to mitigate and liquidate all of that sell side liquidity, and all of this buy side liquidity, it will build up as it makes its way down. So not going to over analyze the daily, let's move on to the 4 hour and see what that looks like. So on the 4 hour now, we'll have a look at the entire picture. We've got that bullish leg, as I keep mentioning, discount, premium. Took out that buy side liquidity. Now we're making our way down fairly correctively. Now what we'll see is yesterday price went up, it's taken this buy side liquidity above these highs into this imbalance here. We had that SMC divergence indicating weakness because DXY refused to make that lower low, which indicated strength on DXY. Massive bearish engulfing candle, which was on news, okay, came down below these lows, took enough sell side liquidity obviously to then pull back and make our way up into the evening and overnight. Now we left behind this imbalance, right, and this will be an order block I guess, but we've got this 4 hour imbalance line here, which price has pretty much mitigated fully, so I like to see that. This is a internal bearish leg now, right, because we've got this high swept buy side liquidity, broke to make a lower low below these lows. So on the 1 hour this will be a 1 hour bearish leg internal to this bullish external leg, okay? So we're working within this big external leg here, but during this pullback, we would call it, to the discount, we're creating those internal lower highs, lower lows. So we've pulled back to a POI, filled an imbalance, and could become resistance to send price lower. On DXY, we've also made that higher high. It closed out below this high, like with the candle body, but it created a higher high anyway. Okay, so I'm going to stick with that our price action and structure on the 4 hours still bullish. We've also pulled back to a similar area here. So we'll just see how price goes from this resistance and see if there's any support around this area as well. Because we have our draw on price here in the discount, and of course if we look on DXY, we have the same draw on price up here to fill this imbalance. So not much has changed on my outlook, right? We have a good resistance POI, bullish leg, and we're pulling back bearish to come towards this imbalance. So I do still see shorts going forward from looking at my 4 hour bias. So I would like to try and capture these trend lines that it creates when it's pulling back to go short down into our discount towards our draw on price, and to follow this bullish structure that's happening on DXY to come up into this premium and fill this imbalance here. So I think that's enough said. Let's go down to the 1 hour, see if that agrees and what it shows us. So here we are on the 1 hour. I think the 1 hour is really clear structure wise. Again, as I keep saying, we get our corrective pullbacks, right, all the way up here. We're leaving all this sell side liquidity trend line, mitigated this 1 hour POI, created an SMC divergence there and broke down, right. We liquidated all of this trend line and all of these lows here. After taking out those lows, price then had enough sell side liquidity to pull back, of course. So what do we have today? So we have this 4 hour imbalance here, and then within that we have a 1 hour order block, right, in the premium of this 1 hour leg from this high to this low. So we have stacked confluences, POIs to serve as resistance. Now price has gone into this 1 hour order block, mostly filled this imbalance, and we're possibly rejecting this point here with this latest 1 hour candle. If we look at our inverse on DXY, we have our bullish leg from this low to this high. We've pulled back correctively, as I keep mentioning, sell side liquidity below all of these lows, right, to this end. Same thing here on DXY. We have the same 1 hour order block POI, which is currently being rejected. So I think everything looks good in terms of my bias to go bearish still down into that higher time frame, imbalance and discount. So I think everything looks fairly obvious, fairly clear. We have a lot more of a sense of direction than I have had in previous days, right? So everything looks typical of what I want to see from price action now. Bearish leg, corrective pullback, leaving sell side liquidity to target, higher time frame POIs here to possibly serve as resistance, higher time frame POIs here on DXY to possibly serve as support with the same corrective trend line, back down into a discount of this bullish 1 hour leg. Structure is still bullish on the 1 hour, right, to go long, targeting what would be a weak high and weak low. If we reject these areas here, that becomes a weak low, that becomes a weak high if we reject this. I like what I see, and that's why I'm going to be looking for shorts today. So let's go down to the M15 and see what that looks like for any opportunities. So on the M15, I think today's price action and the structure and order flow is super clear for beginners as well, and those that may be new to this channel. So I hope everything's clear. Ask me any questions if you need clarity on something. Right, so we've pulled back to this area. Had this M15 order block pointed out yesterday, where when we broke these lows, I was looking for a pullback. We didn't. We continued breaking those lows on the news, and now we have pulled back very correctively, right, making these lower time frame higher highs, higher lows. Now we're above Asia's session. We've taken Asia buy side liquidity. We've gone into an M15 order block, which is within this 1 hour order block, and obviously the 4 hour imbalances within this area. Now all I'm waiting for is a switch in structure. So at the moment our order flow in the day and the structure is bullish because we've got this low, higher high, higher low, higher high. What I want is some momentum and a structure break. So where we are now in price, whatever we choose to do, whether price comes up and sweeps this internal highs again to gain that buy side liquidity and that momentum and close this 4 hour imbalance possibly, and then we break down, that would be great. So we could break down below this low, but preferably this low here as a break of structure, and then we pull back to our lower time frame order block with imbalance to go short. Now we may suddenly, now with London's opening, break down and break through this low, but if we don't, maybe we come up, just sweep some internal buy side liquidity as I've shown here, and then get some momentum and break down. So what I'm looking for is a break of structure, preferably around this area here, an order block with imbalance possibly around this area here. We may get a corrective pullback, right, to be an inducement below our entry, just around here, one of these pullbacks, and then we can set our order to go short from this point here, stop loss just above the highs, and then targeting whichever value meets your plan. So that's what mine would look like. And obviously if we do get this sweep above this high, this would be a buy side liquidity sweep internally before the breakdown, which would just be really nice. So that's what I would look for. But we've already come into a POI and we may respect our trend from there, right? Our current trend is bearish, even though the external trend is bullish, right? So yeah, that's what I see. I think that's very clear at the moment. We're just waiting for structure to shift. The reason why we wait for that, price may want to come up and sweep these highs here, right? There's nothing stopping it from sweeping these highs for the buy side liquidity it needs, then it breaks down. So we'll see. We're getting some momentum now. Maybe we'll get this breakdown that I'm looking for. So that's everything. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.